You're listening to an audio article by the Common Constitutionalists. Today's article is entitled, "A Figure of Speech Escapes AOC." A few days ago, Brent Smith wrote an article for Human Events about his recent testimony on Capitol Hill as a guest of Representatives Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan. Rob is a United States Army veteran, Turning Point USA contributor, and political analyst. In other words, he's fairly accomplished for a guy that looks like he's 20-nothing. Oh, and did I mention he's a black conservative? That's an Uncle Tom for you leftists. I shouldn't need to mention what shade he is, but I did just in case any leftist identity politicians are reading this. Because as we know, leftists are all and only about skin color and gender. Anywho, Rob was telling the distinguished House members, almost choked on those words, about his life story thus far, how he pulled himself up by his bootstraps instead of wallowing in self-pity and remaining on government assistance. Well, evidently Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had a problem with Mr. Smith's accounting. She didn't take kindly to his bootstrap reference. However, Rob's article wasn't really about himself. It was actually a warning to the right to not take AOC so lightly. The article is entitled, quote, "I face down AOC in the halls of Congress. She's no joke. Conservatives need to be prepared," unquote. Now, this young man sounds pretty intelligent, but I have to disagree. She is a joke and has demonstrated it on dozens of occasions. The reason why people follow her is that for the most part, she never allows herself to be caught having to directly engage someone who can refute every one of her many unfounded and inane claims. During this congressional hearing, or whatever it was, AOC responded to Smith's claim of income mobility, that he had pulled himself up by his bootstraps, meaning, of course, that he took it upon himself to improve his life. She said, are you ready for this? Quote, "It's a physical impossibility to lift yourself up by a bootstrap, by your shoelaces. It's physically impossible. The whole thing is a joke," unquote. I couldn't agree more, AOC. It's a joke. But that brilliant oration apparently went unchallenged. However, anyone with a brain, or even half their brain tied behind their back, hat tip Rush Limbaugh, could have easily snapped back that this was merely a figure of speech. This is why I'm a bit perplexed as to why Mr. Smith thinks AOC is not a joke. Now, I'm no genius, far from it, and it took me all of about 30 seconds to come up with several other figures of speech, when, if applied literally, would be equally impossible or worse. Here are some I came up with, and I'm not going to explain what they actually mean. If you don't already know, you probably voted for AOC. She has the weight of the world upon her. Well, duh, that's obviously a physical impossibility. Right, Alexandria? How about, quote, "I wasn't born yesterday," unquote. This isn't likely unless you're a clone, I suppose. He's as fast as lightning. Is he? Is he really? He's older than dirt. He'll talk you to death. She has a heart of stone. Or, I can feel the sun on my face. All these are figures of speech, AOC, that are as ridiculous when taken at face value. But the more colorful way they make a point can be very useful. Unless you're Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I suppose. But I get why he said in the article that, quote, "But take it from someone who faced her down in Congress, she's no laughing matter," unquote. In fact, she is scary because she believes the communist crap she regurgitates. And I understand this young man is a product of an environment of respect for others, but a line has to be drawn. Whereas these radicals must be challenged. They must be called out regardless of the perceived consequences. And Mr. Smith will learn this with more age and experience. Thank you for listening.